The Adelphi Racing Club is a racing club of like-minded people who enjoy horse racing and the camaraderie of being a part of something bigger than themselves. It's a true community. Adelphi's founding partners have all owned horses in other partnerships and syndicates, as well as their own. The overarching goal of Adelphi is to blend the benefits of solo ownership without the administrative hassle, but with the thrill of the partnership experience. Adelphi offers an interactive ownership experience with real-time access to other partners, trainers, bloodstock advisors, and other members of the team. Adelphi has very limited remaining shares available and a couple of exciting 2-year-old prospects, including a New York-bred colt by Red Hot Sire Lauban named Gem Mint 10, who is already shipped into trainer Ray Handel's Belmont Barn. Ray thinks he's very forward and should be making the early 2-year-old races later this season. And a Tapper colt, of which I have a piece of, by the way, named Magistrate, who is currently in training down at Kinsman Farm in Ocala and will be trained by Christophe Clement. This colt is bred and built to run all day and is an exciting prospect for this summer or fall. Make sure you join the club, and as you can see on the bottom of the screen is the information to get in touch with Matt Couture, the managing racing partner. You see the website, the email, Instagram, and on Twitter. And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's start the show. Good evening and welcome to episode 124 of the HHH Racing Podcast. I'm your host, Howard Kravitz. Thanks again for joining us on an exciting night as we're going to be talking exclusively about the big day at Gulfstream Park. This Saturday, it is Florida Derby Day, and we have a fantastic guest to get us through the late pick five and talk about some specific trips of some horses that we're going to want to pay attention to. So we're going to be heavy on watching replays and great info. Please make sure you subscribe right there, bottom right-hand side of the screen. You guys know the drill already. Make sure also you hit that notification bell so you know new content will rise, and that thumbs up button that'll tell YouTube this is a great show. You can reach me, you can see on Twitter at the bottom of the screen, at HKravitz, and of course, email on the scroll in the bottom, hkravitzhorse@gmail.com. And also, you can see on the bottom of the screen right now, our next telecast. This Saturday, I'm very excited, live, just like we did last Saturday. If you watched our live coverage at Dubai last Saturday, I think you're going to love the coverage once again we have of the Florida Derby and Arkansas Derby. We have some guest handicappers coming on, and we'll be reacting live to what we see. You're not going to want to miss it. Please make sure you check us out Saturday right here, 6 to 7:45 Eastern Standard Time. Also, before I bring on our guests, I want to give a little shout out. Had a little exciting adventure today. Did a little trade-in with my car. I want to thank Matt Brueggerman at Happy Hyundai in Libertyville. Shout out to Matt. Did a great job selling me a car today. Did a little trade-in. He was fantastic, so shout out to Matt Brueggerman at Happy Hyundai in Libertyville. If you live in the Chicago northern suburbs, check out Matt at Happy Hyundai. We got to hit this pick five Saturday because my payments just went up a little bit per month, so we got to make sure we crush this pick five. I know that our guest is going to make sure we do that as well. A few quick comments before we bring on our guest. Charles, thanks for joining the show. Matt, there he is. I'm assuming that's him. Matt Brueggerman, let's go. Let's do it, Matt. Let's crush this pick five. Tom Espinoza from San Francisco. Tom, I'm glad you love those live shows. I hope you join us this Saturday. And thanks for the new wheels. I appreciate that. Maybe I'll send out a tweet for the new wheels. Cashing for a nice prize in the live money contest helps me make that decision to sort of upgrade the new car. So anyway, there he is, Matt. Thanks a lot. He's watching the show. Matt Brueggerman from Happy Hyundai. There we go. All right. enough about my life. Let's get on to the horses. That's why everyone is watching. We already have a lot of people watching live. Please make sure top right hand side of the screen you type in those questions you have for our guest in the live chat. We want to have a very lively discussion. Speaking of our guest, let's bring him on right now. This gentleman was on with us in December. He is part of a fantastic product that's out called TripNote Pros. He works for them. They specialize in trip notes. They specialize in watching a lot of replays, watching a lot of video, and giving us, the handicappers, some good opinions on some horses to use, especially some prices to use. I know this gentleman we're about to bring on has got some prices for us on Saturday Gulfstream. He was with us in December. Let's bring him on again and welcome to have from TripNote Pros, Mr. Justin Christein. Justin, how you doing tonight?
I'm great, Howard. How are you? Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. We're excited to have you on again. Really appreciate it. Again, TripNote Pros is a great product. Let's just jump right in, Justin. For people that are not familiar with TripNote Pros, just tell a little bit about the product, and then I'm going to bring up some information that you sent me on some new things going on with TripNote Pros.
Yeah, so it's an exciting time. I think Benny's doing an awesome job of creating some buzz, and we're gaining some momentum in a couple of new spots. So TripNote Pros is a product that is put out to give you detailed trip notes of every horse in every race on a card, and even giving you the bias information from that particular race that the horse ran in, and also giving you an overview, a summary of the race in general, the pace and the flow. So, it's much more than what you can read in the running lines and the comment lines. And it's a lot of work. And from watching replays that if you want to be thorough to get a good feel for each race, you have to watch the replays from every horse. And we do that legwork for you. And we take pride in being extremely accurate and catching every little nuance. So you can be confident that when you read the notes that we've put up for each horse in each race, that we've gone over that race, that horse, that trip with a fine-tooth comb. And so it's a great product, and it'll save you a lot of time, and it's quite affordable compared to some of the other stuff out there as well. So we're proud of what we've put together.
Absolutely. By the way, we got a shout out from Paul Halloran. TripNote Pros is a very good product. There you go. Paul's an experienced handicapper, by the way, Justin, on
Thanks,
the
Paul.
East Coast, so he knows what he's talking about. He also writes for the Saratoga Special in the summer, so he's obviously very familiar with handicapping and whatnot. Paul, thanks for joining the show. Greatly appreciate it. People have asked me, Justin, why you want to promote? Why should I be promoting other products when I have stuff on my own? And I'll answer that question in a second. And if you don't mind, I'm just going to bring up a little promotion I have as well. I have a race day blog. There it is at the bottom of the screen. It's not the same as TripNote Pros. Hit on a 16-1 last week in Dubai on a horse called Crown Pride in the UAE Derby, who, by the way, had a very interesting trip. I'm sure Justin's probably aware of that. That trip that horse got in Japan. So anyway, if you're interested in the race day blog, folks, look below the video player, hit the show more button. I also have a bunch of promotions. But just to answer, my own question, Justin, I think people should have the right to get any information that's out there. Whether they want to go to TripNote Pros, buy my product, I'm here to help people. I think we need to grow the game, whether it's with my products or your products or whatever. That's why I have other people from other podcasts on as well. I don't understand why are we fighting with each other? Let's just go ahead and give all the people the information they need. Let them decide what's best out there. And you guys have some great things going on right now. I'm going to go ahead and bring on the screen. Let's talk about some of the items you guys have. Right now, I'll go full screen. This is actually an email that Justin sent, so hope you folks at home don't mind. Justin, very briefly, I don't want to make it bigger than that because then we're going to lose some of the writing, but quickly just talk about those 4 bullet points that you emailed me with about TripNote Pros right now.
Sure. So we are front and center on TVG on their website. There's a quick link right when you log in, and that'll take you to one free race every day. We also have an offer that we're giving out free trip notes every day of the Santa Anita meet starting tomorrow, April 1st. All you have to do is go to santanita.com/TripNotePros and opt in. It takes 20 or 30 seconds, and you'll receive them in your email, your inbox, every day that they're available. And then super excited about this. Keeneland is offering our trip notes for free on their website. So same
Congratulations,
deal
by the
as,
way. That's a great. That's fantastic for the company.
yeah, it's awesome. So just go, same as Santa Anita, go to the Keeneland website and also opt in there. And then the TripNote Pros product will be featured every day on the Keeneland live show that Gabby Gaudet and Scott Hazelton do. So if you're watching that, you'll get some extra info in addition to everything that you get from the Keeneland website. And they'll be chatting about it. And I don't know, maybe Benny will make an appearance or two on one of those Keeneland live shows. That would be really cool if he could break down a couple replays. Another sort of tangential goal of ours is to educate people as well and to help them understand how to find subtle trouble that the average person or the average eye may not pick up on or may not notice, that is a huge factor in the outcome of a race.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I've there's a lot of information out there, like we talked about before the show, but you really got to do your homework. I mean, there are very subtle things that happen within a race that not every handicapper picks out, and it's something that I've worked very hard on trying to find those subtleties, not just gallop outs or the obvious. And also, one other thing I wanted to mention to the viewers out there: don't just always look for the trouble. You have to look for perfect trips. I think that's something that's very underrated,
Mm-hmm.
Justin. I know that you guys mainly talk about trouble trips, but
Mm-hmm.
that horse that gets that candy trip that might not get it again next time, big play against next time. So it's not just the trouble, but also you have to look for a horse that get perfect trips. I'm assuming you would have to, you agree with that, looking at the converse argument as well.
Oh, for sure. And the thing now about trouble in the running line, if it is picked up by the chart caller,
This,
everybody sees it, and they tend to get wildly overbet.
and not only that,
So,
sometimes the chart callers don't pick up on stuff. And listen, the chart callers have a tough job, but you and I both know there are things they miss obviously, or they exaggerate. They say, huge steady or whatever. You look at it like there wasn't much,
mhm.
or usually it's the other way around, where like why wasn't this noted in the notes when the horse sort of got shut off and they didn't mention it, etc. So anyway, yeah, absolutely got to do your job in looking at everything. Justin, we got a big day on Saturday at Gulfstream Park. Last night we talked about Oaklawn. Today we're talking about Gulfstream. We're going to jump into the late pick five. Now, before we jump into the late pick five, I want everyone to know there are many stake races on Saturday at Gulfstream before the late pick five. We are not going to talk about those. There's, I believe, 3 graded stakes. They have sort of shorter fields. And frankly, I wanted to focus on the late pick five and really deep dive into that. So if you want information about the other stakes before the pick five at Gulfstream Saturday, we will not be talking about those. Justin, we got some big fields. We got a lot to get to. Are you ready to rock and roll into the late pick five at Gulfstream Park?
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. So I'm going to go ahead and bring up a few things here. First of all, let's bring up the Equibase. I want to put us on screen here. This is, sorry for the advertisement. This is going to be the first race we're going to be talking about there, and I will show, of course, our picks on the bottom of the screen. H is for Howard. J is for Justin. Justin has not seen my picks. I just saw Justin picks just a little while ago, so we do not compare any notes. If we have some horses that are the same, complete coincidence and the same, hopefully great thinking. Could be bad thinking. Who knows? We'll see. Justin, let's rock and roll. First race of the pick five sequence is race 10. It's going to start, you can see on the screen there, at approximately 4:09 Eastern. It is the Sir Shackleton Stakes. It is 7 furlongs, $100,000 purse on the dirt for the older males. There's the field right there. The morning line favorite is a very talented Indiana bred called Fortin Hill. 5-2 morning line for Bill Mott and Jose Ortiz. I'm going to go ahead and now switch to the past performances. And as everyone can see, you are indeed going with the morning line favorite, 5-2 for OXO Equine.
Yeah, and I was a little disappointed when I saw 5-2. I think you'll actually get more like 7-2 or 4-1 on this horse. At least That's what I'm hoping. Maybe it's wishful thinking, but I expected him to be in the 7-2, 4-1 range. So let's start with quick tempo though, because in my mind, he's the key to the race. If they don't run with him, if somebody doesn't put pressure on him again, he's liable to go gate the wire. He's sharp. I don't think the 7 furlongs will be an issue for him. Luis Saez is going, and so can somebody run with him? That's the question. My sense is that Rough Entry is going to put some heat on him, and from the outside, and I'm hoping that's the case because that might set up well for a horse like my top choice, which is Fortin Hill. I don't mind the inside posts at Gulfstream going 6, 6.5, and 7. I think that was a perfect prep for him. He was versus the flow in that race. He's going to love the stretch out. And I think that he's a horse, despite being 6 years old, he's lightly raced. I think he's going to make a big step forward. And if he does, I like his chances. And then, Weyburn, I couldn't believe when I saw 10-1 on the morning line.
Yeah, what in the world? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
This horse, I have a better chance of jumping into this race with a horse suit and finishing out of the money than Weyburn being 10-1. I mean, come on. Really?
Yeah. And can we see that, by the way, Howard? Is that possible? You're not going down to Florida this weekend, are you?
I am not. I'm not going to be down in Florida this week. I'm going to be here. No. But actually, if you don't mind, I think now's a perfect time. I'd like to show the Fortin Hill last race because I'm not sure if you have any trip notes out of it, but I do want to show it for our viewers because there are a lot of horses coming out. As you can see, the top 4 are coming out of that race. I don't know if you have any thoughts when you watch the replay, but Quick Tempo, the horse that Justin mentioned, is going to be the 6 on the lead. And you're going to see the 1, Fortin Hill, making a nice run. We're not going to show the whole replay, but I do want to show sort of midway through here. Well, not that. So, again, if you want to talk it through, here's Fortin Hill on the outside.
Yeah, and you can see he's against the flow here. I mean, those horses went 1, 2, 3 around, and he leveled out and is finishing really well. And he just looks like a horse that's going to appreciate extra ground. He was getting the quick tempo at the end, as you can see. He cut into that margin, and I think that again, second off the layoff, 7 furlongs. There's a lot to like here, as long as somebody can put pressure on quick tempo. And I'm hoping somebody does that. And listen, when Jose Ortiz rides for Bill Mott, they're okay together. And so I think Jose got on this horse knowing probably that he was going to need one in that classified allowance race, and that he's getting right back aboard for this $100,000 stake. And I think it's go time for Fortin Hill, and I'm hoping for 4-1.
Yeah, he was off a 1.5-year layoff too. I mean, that's my only concern, Justin. I have him third. He can win, but he's been very ouchy. It's a 6-year-old that's only has 6 lifetime starts. He is already 6 years old. If he can get back to, I think he does need to improve slightly, not very much, but I think he does need to improve a little bit to win this race. I don't see any reason why he can't improve. Off the layoff. I just want to mention also there were 2 horses in that replay that got dream trips. Rough Entry got a perfect trip, no excuse. Where Paradise Lay even got a better trip, couldn't win, no excuse. I'm completely against those 2. You got Weyburn for second. I have Weyburn for second also. Coming off a layoff, is your gut feeling that Brendan Walsh is going to have this horse cranked up, or is this possibly a means to an end, in your opinion?
I think it might be a means to an end, but I also think he's better around 1 turn. And he looked really good in his work on 311. You can watch those at XBTV.
Yeah.
He looked okay. He didn't look as good in his 325 work as he did in his 311 work. He was a little late switching leads. He was a little goofy at the top of the stretch. Yeah. But the thing is, I mean, he clicks off 47-3, 46-4. And if you watch the replays of his works, it doesn't look like he's going very fast. I mean, he does it so smoothly. He's a nice striding horse. And I
By the
think,
way, he is a big horse. I mean, you
yeah,
watch the workouts. I didn't look into the workmates closely, but he like towered over his workmates. This is just a big MFer, which tells me, at least in my experience, Justin, he might need to work his way into
mhm.
shape. I'm not so sure this is the spot for him, but does he really need to be 100% to win this race? Is the question.
No, he might not. And if you look at his past performances, his arguably his two best races and his two highest figures came off of
Yeah,
layoffs. Um,
absolutely.
so he probably does like the fire fresh, and it's a good sign that Brendan Walsh is bringing him back in this stakes race. I mean, he probably could have found a condition allowance somewhere, but he shows some confidence, and he gets Tyler Gaffleone to ride, and so there are some things to like. Uh, Not the least of which is the 10-1 price. Now, I think Howard, you and I probably both agree that we're not going to get 10-1, maybe
No.
half that.
Yeah.
But anything above 6-7 to 1, he's a win candidate, a bet to win if Fortin Hill stays at the 5-2 morning line. I mean, in the end, in my opinion, it's all about price. And if Weyburn's 6 or 7 to 1 and Fortin Hill's 5-2, then I'm looking towards Weyburn in this case.
By the way, Tom also mentioned, and you touched on it with Fort Hill, that his first two lifetime starts, actually, that was with IRAD. So, uh, uh, actually, it says Jose. Tom, you're actually incorrect. Sorry, I shouldn't have shown that, but we get the idea, Tom. The
Yeah.
Ortiz brothers have been on Fort Hill, so
Yep.
yeah. Let very briefly, I got to talk about. Let me just say, Justin, I don't really like anyone coming out of that allowance race we saw. I
Yep.
suppose quick tempo can wire the field. I mean,
Yep.
I don't think 7 is his distance though. So I suppose if he just walks the dog, which we've certainly seen before, he can win, but he's going to be an extreme backup for me. I just think, one of these others is going to beat him, but I suppose he can get loose and win. We got to talk about Collaborate for a second. I've had a
Yeah.
bit of a love affair with Collaborate, I will admit. Maybe I'm being a bit stubborn. There's nothing to show with replays last time, Justin. I
No.
loved. And I'm very honest with my viewers, and I'll be the same with you. I loved Collaborate last time. I thought I was getting a steal at 7-1. Just didn't run very well. He was up close to a fast pace and was 5 wide against a much, much better field. He's got blinkers on, and what I do like, in addition to the outside post, actually two things. He's turning back, which I think is going to work better for him, and he's got Junior Alvarado back on, who rode him 2 back when he ran a monster race. I don't like the 3-1. I'm hoping to get more. I've got this horse on top because, frankly, I don't like that allowance race, and I'm not sure Weyburn's going to be ready. And I'm sort of left with this horse, but he is talented. There's no
Hmm.
question. He's just got to put it together, Justin.
Yeah, no question. And I'll just reiterate a couple points that you made. The horses that he faced last time are in a different league than this group, and he was wide versus a 21 and a 22-1 first quarter, and then they went the second quarter in 22-1 also, and he was 5 wide
Yeah.
against that pace. Now, my concern, Howard, and I don't know if this concerns you or not, is that anytime he's raced without Lasix, he's not run very well, and the times that he has Lasix, he's run very well. Now, could be coincidental, but to me, at 3-1, that's definitely something to look at. He's a bit of an enigma, and the no Lasix and the blinkers on. And I'm with you. I loved him last time, and he didn't run a step, and so
No.
I have him third. But I don't know. I'm off of him. The Lasix thing concerns me a little bit.
I will readily admit, and like I said, I did deep dive, but I don't always look at the LASIK situation because Justin, this game is hard enough. We talked about this actually in December, how hard this game is anyway, let alone trying to figure out who wants LASIX, who doesn't. I'll tell you what, you make an excellent point. I cannot argue anything you just said about the Lasix. I don't know. I suppose, I mean, they don't have to run him in a race that has Lasix either, I suppose. So I don't know. Um, like I said, I would not take a low price on this horse. I wouldn't take anything probably less than 7-2 on him. But I don't think there are a lot of choices in this race, in my personal opinion. So it's a good race, a great way to start off the pick five. Let's go on to the next race here. And I'm going to go ahead and back to our Equibase here. I got a bunch of things to switch. The next race is going to be race 11. There it is. This is the Sanibel Island Stakes. It's on the turf. It's for 3-year-old fillies restricted. It's a mile and 16th. $100,000 is the purse. There's the field right there. You got a morning line favorite, the number one, Mischievous Kiss, who, let me go full screen here. Frankly, I think it's a little bit low, that morning line. Actually, not frankly, I think that's crazy low on this horse personally. You see our picks there on the bottom of the screen. We are quite a bit different, so we're going to talk about it. Justin is going with a very interesting horse that just won an allowance race, I believe. Let's bring it up. The number two horse, and that name is Beach Nut Trophy, 4-1 morning line for Safi Joseph. And there's your guy, Jose Ortiz, again.
Yeah. So this horse had a pretty bad trip, and not much of it is mentioned in the comment line. So he had trouble at the beginning, and he had subtle trouble approaching the far turn. So I don't know, Howard, if you can cue up the beginning and then fast forward it to maybe halfway down the backstretch.
I was just going to say, anytime you want me to cue something up, just let me know. I'll be happy to do it.
Let's take a look at that.
So Beach Nut Trophy is going to be the one horse. And just tell me where you'd like me to go.
Yeah, started at the beginning, and then we'll see the trouble. He's gonna stumble slightly, and then he's gonna steady. He's gonna lose about 2 or 3 lengths, a couple of jumps out of the gate. Not mentioned in the PPs, by the way. All right, so there it is, and then he has to steady.
Right there, absolutely. Yep. The Ramsey Silks there is already steadied. Yep.
Yep, and then you play it, and he's lost about 2 or 3 lengths off the get-go. And then so if you fast forward it, Howard, maybe to midway down the backstretch. Okay, perfect spot. Now you're gonna watch him here. He's in a good spot, and now he's waiting. Ortiz is holding him up. He's waiting for the 2 horse on his outside to get clear so he can shift out, because he doesn't have anywhere to go. And at this point, he's moving laterally instead of forward. So moving laterally. Now he's following the 2 horse wide uncovered. And so at this point, he's still on hold. He swings 5 wide. Now Ortiz asks him, and then he's going to dive to the inside here in a moment. And then he really starts to kick it in. Right here, Ortiz asks him to dive to the inside. He's going to run down these leaders with this like nice daisy cutter type action. And he's really going to pull away. And then he gallops out big as well. I loved that performance. I like 4-1. He's got more speed than he's shown. I think he's going to get a great chip. He'll probably tuck in right behind Mischievous Kiss, who will be on or near the lead. And I think he's going to be mid-pack, and I think he's got the best kick of the group. So I really like him. He's going to be a single for me in the pick 5. There's some others I can talk about, but I'll let you go to yours first, and then I'll jump back in.
No, I love everything I just saw. I'm going to readily admit I did not listen. We don't have time to watch like every single well, maybe Justin does. I was busy trading in a car today, so I did not watch that replay. You're absolutely right, and I'll tell you what. Let's put us back on screen. I give extra credit for a horse that can dive to the inside and finish, because horses in general, and this is a fairly lightly raced 3-year-old filly, coming off a layoff, don't necessarily like to close up the inside. So my only concern is, did Jose Ortiz go to the inside because the horse has a bit of a steering issue and he couldn't just angle the horse out? So I guess what I'm saying is, if he tries to do the same thing again in a tougher, bigger field, he might not be able to get to the inside. So I guess I'm sort of contradicting myself. I like the fact she came up the inside, but Justin, I'm slightly concerned that he wasn't able to steer her to the outside like perhaps he could have, or maybe just the horse in front of him was coming out, so he had no choice. I don't know. These are subtle conversations we can have. Any way you look at it, she closed very well, I think. So you know what I'm trying to say? I mean, I don't. If she's a little bit hard to handle, that might be a bit of a problem.
Yeah, what I think happened was the 3 horse was drifting out a little bit, and so Ortiz saw all that green to the inside, and rather than shifting her out further, he took her to the inside. At least that's what it looked like to me from the head on, that the 3 was shifting out, and so he didn't want to run into any more trouble. He didn't know how much farther the 3 would shift out into the center of the turf course, so he just decided to play it safe and dive to the inside.
I've got my pen. I'm moving up Beach Nut Trophy. She just went up from a C to maybe an A or B. I'm putting B ? A. There
Love
you
it.
go. Thank you,
Love
Justin.
it.
Appreciate that.
This is
Now,
why we this is why we have
now if
these
she doesn't run, I know
conversations.
who to blame.
That's
I'm
right.
just
This
kidding.
is why we have the conversations, and
No,
you'll probably do the
absolutely.
same thing for me.
So let me return the favor a little bit with you.
Go ahead.
I want to talk about my top pick and your second choice, who I'm sure obviously you like.
Yeah.
Shad Nation. I'm going to leave us on screen just for a minute. Christopher Clement has said publicly he likes this horse.
Hmm.
Christophe Clement is a pretty um, low key guy, pretty mild mannered. When he says he likes a horse, my antenna goes up. Okay, number one. Number two, let's watch a little bit of the end of the replay here of Shad Nation's first start, Justin, because I thought this was very impressive. Didn't really have trouble. First of all, in her debut, as you can see, faced two next out winners. Who is Gunboat? Gunboat just finished in the wait a while in December. Is a nice horse for Sugar McGahee. And Spicer is a Chad Brown horse that just finished second uh, 2 weeks ago to a nice Chad Brown named Dulce Zell, who's a foreign invader at Tampa. So Shad Nation comes out of a very strong maiden race. And we're not going to watch too much of this replay here. But Shad Nation is the 9, and I'll just take you to the end of the race because I thought this was pretty impressive here. Uh, got a nice trip, but I really like the way, and you see she was 10-1. Uh, really accelerated well hill in the stretch, very professionally. I don't have the final fractional time, but I just like the way she did it. For a first time starter to do this in a nice field is
Yeah.
impressive to me over a good horse. So
Yeah.
again, there's
Right.
not really much to watch in terms of look at the stride here.
Yeah.
For a first time 2-year-old, that's nice.
Howard,
Did
she
not run.
finished. Sorry, she finished. She finished in 28-3 that last quarter, so she was moving.
There it is. There we go. Yep, 28-3. That'd be for the final. I gotta do the math on that. Final 3/8.
Final. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be.
Uh,
Yeah, closed better. You can see than anyone else by far in that race. So that's pretty impressive. Actually, it's 3/16. Sorry, that'd be a furlong and a half. If I'm correct on that. Anyway, didn't run as well against Mischievous Kiss, but you know what? Sometimes the 2-year-old fillies are going to bounce off for a big first effort. I'm not reading so much into that. She's got IRAD. I don't think we'll get the 6-1. Blah blah blah. I'm going with Shad Nation. Mischievous Kiss can win. She's got a race, against Spenderella, who I loved last time and was a
mm.
single for me that day, and won some money in the contest using Spenderella when I had Simon Bray on. But I don't know. I'm not sure she has the upside as some of the others, like the 2 you mentioned, the 6 I mentioned. But Mischievous Kiss can win also, right?
Yeah, she can win. I mean, 2-1 is awfully short. She will get a good trip. She has good speed, like you said. She chased Spinderella, who, by the way, I liked as well. Apparently, everybody liked her because I think she went off at like 7-5 or 8-5.
Yeah, she took a lot of money.
Yeah. And just to piggyback on what you were saying about Shad Nation, that second trip in the Chelsea Flower Bowl was not a very good one. She was uncomfortable for most of the trip. She was in between horses, and
Yeah.
it's important to note, I think, also that she went off favored in that race.
Over
So
Mischievous Kiss.
yeah, exactly. So like you
Right.
said, the barn liked her.
Yeah.
And, Spicer's a really good horse. I think has a lot of promise for Chad Brown. So she's kept great company. Obviously the only question mark is the layoff. But
Absolutely.
Clement will have her ready if he's entering her here first off the layoff. And she's a big threat as well. I couldn't agree with you more there.
I almost wish Irad was not on because now she's going to take more money than she probably should. But I still think we're going to get a price, and I want to move on. I want to take we're spending a lot of time on these races, which is fine. There are 2 horses on the outside. I don't know if you want to give any opinion at all on Ambitus, who is coming off a poor effort, and a horse that I think that I like a little bit more because of her tactical speed. My filly Twirl, who is not spectacular, but has early speed in a race where I just don't see a lot of it.
Yeah. I have on my filly Twirl, I have the TripNote that she had a pretty soft trip versus a small field in that last race. And so I feel like she's one you're supposed to play against because she had that soft trip. I mean, 9-2, I would need probably double that to get interested in her. And then Ambituous, she actually had a quite an eventful trip in the Florida Oaks. Franco was grabbing her and then letting her run, and then grabbing her and letting her run. And by the time they turned for home, she didn't have anything left because I think she was either confused or discouraged, or she was using up energy down the backside. So I didn't love the Sweet Chant. The Opalina running line is not bad. Opalina ended up running second to Spinderella.
Yeah.
So if you like her, you can feel confident in drawing a line through the Florida Oaks, I think, and focus on her form before that. I just don't love her that much. I didn't love the way she finished all that much. So
Yeah. It is a
I
quick
couldn't.
turnaround, which you can look at two ways. And Graham Motion's a very patient guy, and he's turning her around very quickly. I take that actually as a positive, Justin. I'm using her defensively. Again, the speed will probably come with sensitivity, which neither one of us have. We'll move on to the next race, but this
Yep.
horse is fast and should get the lead with Paco. So I don't know. I think this race is pretty pace dependent and trip dependent. I think many can win. But Justin and I like the upside of the 2 and the 6 the
Yep.
most. But of course, whoops, I didn't want to do that. But they definitely need the trip, though, because I don't think they lay over these horses by any means. Uh, Anything else, Justin, before we move on
Nope.
to the next
Nope.
race?
Let's go.
Let's go. By the way, A. Roth thinks that Shad Nation will be 5-2, 3-1. I'll tell you what, if she is that, she's extremely live. I think the board's going to tell on Shad Nation. I think she's taking money. She's an absolute use. And you'll know, folks, if you look at the probable will pays going forward from the previous race. If she's dead on the board, I would have no interest in her whatsoever. That's how strong I feel about Christophe Clement. All right, let's go on to the next race here. The next race is going to be race 12. Let's go to the Equibase here. So we press a bunch of buttons here. There we go. Race 12 is the Gulfstream Park Oaks. I'm going to switch the banner as well. It's a grade 2. Now, this is a big point race for the Kentucky Oaks. This is a very important race for these girls that are trying to race in the Kentucky Oaks. Obviously, restricted for 3-year-old fillies. $250,000 purse. Going a mile and 16, 2 turns. You see the field there. There are 2 horses that are going to take the bulk of the money. One is Kathleen O from the outside, 4-5, and the other is Goddess of Fire, who is 9-5 for Pletcher. But Justin Christein says, "Oh no, don't get fooled. There's another horse that he likes. I believe it's pronounced Katish for Jonathan Thomas and Irad, 6-1. That's who you're going with."
Yeah, and I'm hoping she doesn't scratch to run at Turfway. So let's start with Kathleen O. I mean, she can win, and this isn't the strongest field. In fact, I think there are only 3 contenders, 3 horses that can possibly win this race. So she can win. She's never gone 2 turns. Gulfstream Park at a mile and a 16th has a short stretch, which rarely favors horses coming from well off the pace. Those 2 factors are enough for me to try to take a stand against her at below even money odds. And so I'm going with Katish. So my line on Katish is that in the January 30th race at Gulfstream, where she finished second to Doll Baby, she hated the kickback in that race. She was behind horses, and she was noticeably flailing at the kickback until she swung out into the stretch. And she's got that arrogate look to her, and so she really leveled out right at the finish line. It looked like she was just getting started at 7 furlongs. And then her last race at Gulfstream, they must have talked about that, and Saez put her right on the lead, and she just increased her margin from there. Looked great in the stretch, galloped out really big, like she's going to appreciate every bit of the mile and a 16th, 2 turns on the main, and I think that's the key. She has every right to be much better on the dirt than she is on the synthetic, and so a 2-turn dirt race with little other pace in there, and 6-1, yes, please, I'll take that. The fly in the ointment could be Blustery, but I'm not too concerned. If Blustery gets the lead, I think this horse can, make it hard enough on Blustery out of the gate into the first turn, and then the way I'm envisioning it, at least, I try to envision these races and the positions of the horses at several points. I'm envisioning Irad just easing her out and sitting her off, getting her out of the kickback and sitting her off of Blustery, and playing come and catch me when they get to the far turn. So yeah, give me 6-1 on the 2-horse Katish.
Yeah, she's interesting. I watched the last replay. It was definitely impressive. I will say she'd not beat a very good field. I just want to show everyone. And again, I'm not being critical of Justin's pick because this horse can win. And I'm using her defensively, Justin, but just to show there's two horses that were in that race that have run back. One got a 47 buyer, one got a 51 buyer. If you look at the buyer figs of the horses in general, they're all like you can see on the screen like 50s and 60s. I mean, she did not beat a very good field. That being said, she did it very well, and so you have to give her credit for that. Um, my top choice, you see, we have the same three. There's really only three horses in this race,
Yep.
we believe. I could not believe I was getting almost 5-2 on Kathleen O last time. There was a big play for me in a contest for a double, and she just blew by the field. My gut feeling here with Kathleen O, Justin, is even if she is a little bit far behind, Castellano will move early enough, and the extra distance and her late kick is just going to be too much. But if the two gets loose, anything can happen. And then the Goddess of Fire, I don't know what to do with. That last race was not a very strong race at the fairgrounds, but it's Pletcher. She's improving, and I have a feeling, Justin, that Saez is going to be a little more aggressive out of the gate because they know that they don't want to let the two get loose. So my feeling is Goddess of Fire is going to be used a little bit more than it looks on paper. I think these jockeys know, or at least they should know, that if they let Katish get go to 24 and 4 and 49, she could be gone. We've seen it many times before, though, in other races. So, do you? This last question before we move on, really. Can she win with pace pressure, or I mean, is she that good? Do you think, or do you think she's going to need her own way on Saturday?
Katish, are you referring to?
Katish, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think she has to have the lead, but I also don't think if she gets the lead and gets harassed on the outside by, let's say, Blustery, that's the ideal trip for her. I think she's either um, on the lead, clear, or she's sitting right outside Blustery, and that's the way she wins. But if she tries, if Irad tries to go to the lead and Blustery tries to go to the lead and the two of them hook up, I think she's cooked. And so, at that point, I would, I'm going to use also Goddess of Fire and Kathleen O. I mean, I can't keep her off the ticket, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna use Katish and Goddess of Fire, hoping that probably those two as A's and Kathleen O as a B. Just in case. But there's enough for me to play against Kathleen O in the A spot, in the top spot.
And I will also say before we move on to the next race, none of these girls, respectfully, none of these girls have any shot in the Oaks. I mean,
Yeah.
this is one of the weakest editions of a Gulfstream Oaks I've seen in a long time, to be honest. I just even Kathleen O, I mean, she's nice. Actually, she might be better as a sprinter. I mean, we'll see. Sort of a late running sprinter. But this is not a strong edition of the Gulfstream Oaks at all.
Nope.
All right,
Agree.
let's go on to the next race. This is going to be, by the way, I didn't sort of talk about the elephant in the room. Let's talk about this for a minute here. Let me switch to the next race here on Equibase. And actually, I'm going to put us full screen. I'm just going to go like this here for a second, Justin. The weather. I don't know if you looked at the weather forecast for Saturday. Oh boy, could be dicey. It does look like it's gonna be like crazy strong thunderstorms. Look like it could be sort of spotty, typical Florida kind of situation. But um, these races that are on the turf, listen, this is their last really big day of the year. I'm guessing they're gonna keep it on the turf unless they absolutely, unless it's unsafe. They could be moving to the Tapeta. The dirt could be sloppy. Again, you're gonna have to watch the weather, everyone, and see. It looks like there's a better chance of rain in the morning on Saturday rather than the afternoon, and it's not going to be an all washout kind of situation. So again, I just want to mention that it's possible these races will be taken off the turf Although I sort of doubt it even with the Tapeta because it's a huge day and they don't want to lose business. And a lot of people, frankly, are just not big fans of the Tapeta. Although I suppose your two horse, well, you think she's better on dirt. So I don't know if it would be moved on, if it was moved to the Tapeta. Would you have any opinion in the previous race, assuming the field stays together?
Well, if it's on dirt, I guess they would be. It would be a sloppy dirt. I mean, would they move the would they move a dirt race to the Tapeta? They do
Oh,
that
that is, oh,
sometimes.
it's a dirt race. What am I talking about?
Yeah,
I've had a long day.
yeah.
Okay, ignore.
You, hey,
Justin's like,
Howard.
what in the world's Howard talking?
Anytime you go through the process of buying a car, you get an excuse for the rest of the night if any slip up mentally happens to you. Let's be
Jesus
honest.
fucking Christ! What the hell am I talking? All right,
Let's
sorry,
let's
Justin. But
let's be.
Justin's like,
Don't
"Where's Howard?
apologize to
Where's
me,
Howard going with this comment?" My bad.
right?
All right, let's just move on because I screwed that one up. All right, as my good friend Peter Thomas Fortel says, that was a major host fail. All right,
Host
the beauty
fail.
of live podcast. It's race 13. Lord, oh Lord. It's race 13. It is, there we go. It's the Kitten's Joy Appleton Stakes. This is for the older males. It's a mile on turf. You can see the rails are out 55 feet if they run it on the turf. $100,000 is the purse. I thought this was a extremely difficult race, and Justin and I probably agree that it's difficult because we have some different opinions here. His top choice I don't have anywhere as of right now, at least. Here's the field you see. The morning line favorite is the 3 Phantom Currency for Brian Lynch and Ira Ortiz, who's coming off a long layoff. Justin is going with a horse that I'm actually, even though I don't have in the top 3, I am using. I'm very curious to hear why you like the number 6, Safe Conduct, 15 to 1 morning line, who lost his last race by a mere 32 and a quarter.
Yeah, draw a line through that one. I don't know why they were running this horse a mile and 3/8 off the layoff, other than for fitness. Maybe with this in mind. I mean, listen. I love the fact that Paco gets aboard. Give me Paco all day on a horse that's forwardly placed. And this horse has back numbers, has numbers as a 3-year-old that can absolutely compete with this group. And the deciding factor is the 15 to 1 because I like you said, Howard. I mean, you could make a case for anybody in this race, and I couldn't argue with you. And so, give me 15 to 1, second time 4-year-old. I love that. I love that angle. I think this horse is going to make a huge step forward here. And I picture Paco having this horse in the second flight, probably third or fourth, sitting off of probably Wolfie's Dynaghost and Phantom Currency. Maybe Carpenter's Call gets in the mix there from the outside, but those outside posts going a mile on the turf at Gulfstream are no bargain. So I thought in a wide open race with a horse that has back numbers that fit, second time off the layoff as a 4-year-old, Paco Lopez jumps aboard. Big rider upgrade from Julian Leperoux, in my opinion. There's enough to like here at 15 to 1 that I'm going to take a shot.
I'm going to push back for one reason only. And by the way, Justin, I do have this horse as a B. So everything you said, I agree with.
Yep.
When is the last time this horse has passed anyone? That is my only concern. I understand he's turning back. This is a sneaky horse, and I'm using him.
Yeah.
And I love your pick. Love your
Yeah.
pick with this horse.
Yeah.
Because people are going to see the lose by 32, and
Yeah.
everyone exaggerates the last running line, blah, blah, blah. So I love your creativity here. My only issue is when you look down the PPs, and I've seen this horse run many times, I mean, he just doesn't pass. And there is a lot of other speed in this race. So, and I'm not sure he's quick enough early to get the lead if others send. So I
Yeah.
love the creativity here. My only concern is he doesn't really pass horses. Let's talk about your top pick, your second pick, and my top pick. And I just want to say for everyone, 2 things. Number 1, I have no freaking clue who's going to win this race. And you almost rarely hear those words out of my mouth. Number 1. Number 2, I thought 6 to 1 was a bit low for a morning line, considering the best buyer fig for Scarlet Sky in his entire life is an 85. And a lot of these horses have run in the 90s several times. But you and I think this horse is interesting. I'd love to hear why you like Scarlet Sky.
Best finisher in a race that potentially could have a pace meltdown. Uh, good
Absolutely.
trip, good trip along the rail until Rosario decides to move, and he usually decides to move at the correct time. He's won on this horse before. First start as a 4-year-old, so I think we are getting a little value because the buyers are lower. This course could jump up and run a buyer that fits with these easily with just slight natural improvement as a 4-year-old. The only thing is I hate taking horses who are going to be last. In a relatively large field, but you're going to get the pace set up. You have Rosario, and you have Shug, who I never doubt any move that he makes, and so those are my arguments for Scarlet Sky. How about you? I'm interested to hear why you like this horse.
I mean, this is a complete pace situation to me, and it doesn't always work out. I mean, how many times have we seen 4 or 5? I mean, let's take a look at it real quick for the viewers here because they don't have the PPs in front of them probably. Noble Indy is not slow, but he'll probably be more mid pack or just off the pace. You've got Wolfie's Dynagos has to go. This is a one-way speed. I don't care if it's on turf, on the Tapeta, if they run it on the highway just outside of Gulfstream Park. Like I don't care where this is run. Ortiz has got to go. That's the only way this horse can win. Order in Law, more mid pack. Okay. Grace Fable, who at first I discounted because I'm like, okay, this horse is off a big layoff, is probably prepping for Woodbine. Take a look at what happened the same time last year in this race when everyone thought the same thing. He was ready and won at 7-1. So Grace Fable, I don't love, but has won before off the layoff. And this horse has speed if she still has speed. What is Phantom Currency going to go? I've been watching his workouts. What is this horse going to be taking back? I mean, it doesn't look like it on paper. This is a speed horse. You think Irad is probably going to go. Carbon's Call is a speed horse. He, in theory, has to be go or up close. And then English B is probably more of a stalking. So there are a lot of horses in this race, Justin, that just look like they need to be up close. And Scarlet Sky is the best closer. The problem is, and I think you laid it out very well, is sometimes he's just too far back. So the best closer in a race that has a lot of pace in it, I don't really have too much to add other than that. You've got the 5, we just mentioned Gray's Fable in third, who's won off a layoff before.
Yeah, and Atfeld has good numbers with long layoffs.
Yeah.
This year he's 3 for 8. Last couple of years you can see he's 40% from 15 starters. I don't know. I mean, listen, he's a first-time 7-year-old. I don't love that. I certainly don't love the 5-1 morning line. I thought he was going to be much higher than that. The only other thing I'll add about this race is that a couple of things. Number one, I can't believe Phantom Currency's 3-1 morning line. I want no part of him at 3-1 morning line. And Noble Indy, don't be afraid to throw him into your trifecta. I think Gustavo Delgado has gotten a big race out of him as a 7-year-old. I think he can move forward again. I think he's going to get a really good trip tucking in along the rail behind the speed. And that last race was not that bad. And, I mean, I would have certainly won more than 12-1, but the second and third quarters of that race were quick. He moved into them. And I think you could do worse, probably at 20-1 for your third spot in the trifecta.
Will he be at 106-1 like last time?
Unreal.
I'm going to quickly talk about Orin Law, and then we're going to talk about the Florida Derby.
Okay.
I don't get fooled by the last time win by 4 against Cheaper, but he has races on the go back in California that are clearly good enough. And I looked up Daniel Pita real quick. I just want to show Daniel Pita, who is not as well known. If you look, I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. If you look at who he wins with, his main guy, do you see this on the right side? Reyes. So Reyes is his guy, and Reyes is on him on Saturday. I think that is worth noting. This trainer can win off the claim, and this is a wide open race. So, anyways, they bring us back on screen. I can see people hitting the all button here. I don't love anyone. I don't hate anyone. This is a very difficult race, Justin.
Yeah, I agree. I wouldn't talk anybody off anyone. And you make valid points on the 4-horse, the horse that you like,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't.
Did I just move him up in your picks for Saturday?
Yes, he will be on my ticket. He will be a saver, but he will be
Okay.
on my ticket. If for nothing else, then he's sharp right now.
Yeah, these these horses are coming off layoffs, right? I mean, who knows
Yep.
how they're going to run? And Justin and I take a lot of time looking at the works. Like Phantom Courtesy has really fast works, but that Palm Meadows turf that they work is very
Yeah.
fast turf course. So,
Yep.
and I watched the works. He didn't. I mean, I didn't see anything like crazy explosive. I don't know. I just wouldn't get too carried away with some of the times of some of the works on those turf courses, especially at Palm Meadows. Just want to bring that up. All right, Justin, here we go. Let's talk about it.
Yep.
This is the big one. And there's even if you're hungry, there's even food on the right side of the screen that people can see. Sorry for the ads, everyone. It's the Curlin Florida Derby. It is going to be approximately at 6:38 Eastern Standard Time without the post lag. Yes, that was a cheap shot. This is $1 million for, of course, 3-year-olds, big 100-point prep. They're going a mile and an eighth. Let's take a look at the field, Justin. We'll rat off real quick. We got Strike Hard from the inside, big price 20-1. Classic Causeway coming back quickly off a big win at Tampa, 7-2. Simplification coming off a win in the Fountain of Youth, 5-2. King of Truth, Papacat. There you see Charge It and White Abario going to be taking a lot of money. And then 3 long shots on the outside, Cajun Magic, Oh Captain, and Clapton. Let's put our picks. Who are we going with? Here's the beauty of TripNote Pros and Justin Christein. He is going with a bomb on the top, and I'm sure he has good reasons for it as we go to the PPs. And by the way, Justin, I also have the Fountain of Youth queued up whenever we want to watch that as well. You're going with not this horse, sorry, as I switch it. Please explain to everyone how they're going to get rich and strike it rich, pun intended, with Strike Hard for Matthew Williams and Junior Alvarado, who is Triple Crown nominated, by the way. You can see that insignia there, 20-1. Tell us how, Justin.
All right. Well, let's start with the other 3 horses because that leads me to Strike Hard. Classic Causeway rerouted to the Florida Derby. Wasn't the original plan, coming back in 21 days. White Abario had a fever last Tuesday, pushed his Sunday work back to Tuesday. That's never a good thing. Sometimes fevers can take the starch out of a horse for more than a couple days after the fever after it dissipates. So don't give. I loved White Abario. I have a future on him after the Holy Bull. I don't love him in this race because of the fever issue. And then
Can I ask what you're getting in the future?
20, somewhere between 25 and 30, I believe.
Beautiful.
That's
what I have on Epicenter, by the way. I have only $50. I wish I had more, but I'll take 1,400 right now.
Yeah, that looks way better than White Abario, the way Epicenter ran last week.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. And then Simplification, he never switched leads in the Fountain of Youth down the stretch. And I don't know, that was a little bit troubling for me. And then I read some comments about Antonio Sano saying that, I hope we win this race, but I just want to see my horse continue to get better and better leading up to the next one. Remember, our main goal is the Kentucky Derby.
Yeah.
And so that, that gave me a little pause for concern also. And then he also said that, they could change tactics because they don't want Classic Causeway to get too far ahead. So, the 3 big horses, I have questions on all of them. And, I think also knowing Classic Causeway is going to be out front, I think he's going to get some pressure. I don't think they're going to let him go gate to wire. And I think if it doesn't heat up in the first quarter, I think by the second quarter, third quarter, you're going to have a hot pace. And so I like Strike Hard going from the 10-hole at Tampa where he broke slow and it's not in the comment line. He ended up being in the last flight, taking dirt around the first turn, lagged, and then made a sustained 5-wide move at about the 3/4 pole. I mean, he was way out in the middle of the track.
Yeah. Do you want me to bring up that replay, Justin?
Yeah, sure.
Do it.
Sure, yeah.
so
You
our
can
viewers can see what you're talking about. I think it's
yeah, you can
important,
start it at the
especially when you're going with a bomb. I think it's important when viewers can
yeah,
see,
no, I agree. You can
what we're
start
talking
it
about.
out of the gate, and then you can fast forward it
Yeah,
to like midway down the backstretch. You can
sure.
see in the when he
I was just going to say he's the 11 here, and of
yeah.
course, Classic Causeway, who wired the field, is the 3. So pay attention to Justin's top picker, strike hard, the 11. Go ahead.
Okay, so he'll break a little tardy, and then you'll see the kickback come flying, and he's taking it. All right, so there he breaks a little slow. Reyes just grabs him here, and then he gets behind horses. He gets behind this 8 horse here, and the kickback starts flying. You can see it flying from all the horses, and so he's eating dirt, and he's you know 12 lengths behind Classic Causeway at this point.
Right here, he's
Um,
already angled out into probably what the 4 path, I would say.
yep, yep, and then it gets worse. So he's slowly progressing, and the whole time he's wide. Now it's really going to make a difference when he gets to the second turn, and
I'll forward it I don't want to forward it too much because that middle move is
yeah,
coming up.
sure,
All the way on the outside there.
yeah,
Go ahead.
he's all the way on the outside, and so here he comes. He's in the red silks. He's probably in the 5 or 6 path now, and they haven't hit the far turn yet. And so when the race speeds up here, the wider you are, the more gravity plays against you also. And so, he's way wide. This horse is having to work much harder than the horses inside of him to try to sustain position. And so anyway, he runs on for a non-threatening 4th beaten 6.5 lengths. Today he's going from the 10 post to the cozy 1 draw, which at a mile in the 8th means something, in my opinion. And he's got a lot more speed than he's shown in the Sam F. Davis. In the race before that, he was 4 lengths behind Simplification, but he and Simplification basically finished the same final quarter. He was, I think, maybe 15 hundredths of a second slower than Simplification in the final stanza of that race. And in my opinion, Alvarado moved a little late. He was sitting last. He was sitting second last behind a few horses, and he just waited too long to move. And by the time he moved, Simplification was gone. So he has more speed than he's shown. He goes from the far outside to the inside. I think there might be a pace heat up at some point in the race, and you got the long stretch of a mile and an eighth. I'll take it. Going back to Alvarado, he's run his best races with blinkers. I think there's a case to be made for this horse, and he's going to be 25 or 30 to 1. So I'll gamble on strike hard in the Florida Derby.
I would never question anyone on a long shot as long as they have reasons. And I've made the same arguments with horses in the last year and a half, for better or for worse, Justin. And as you well know in this game, sometimes they work out unbelievably and you're a genius. And other times they don't. And people will say, how could you pick this horse? What a stupid. Listen, you have to take chances in this game. And I love your reasoning. As long as someone has reasoning, I don't blame anyone ever for picking a big long shot. And I totally agree with everything you said. Despite everything you just said, I'm not sure he's good enough to win, but I am fascinated with this horse possibly underneath, especially if things get heated. I think Junior's going to save ground the entire way. Maybe a hole opens up. Listen, stranger things have happened. There's no killers in this race. So I think you have a fascinating argument. You already mentioned about Classic Causeway, who you have in second. And then you have Simplification in third. Is there anything else about this race you'd like to add before I discuss my picks?
No, I'm curious though on your opinion of Charge It, and I do see your case for your horse in third. That's O'Captain, I believe.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I see a case for him. So yeah. Anyway, go on with what your analysis, Howard. But also, what's your feeling on Charge It in this race?
Awesome. I'm going to take off. I've been waiting for this moment all week. All right, here we go, folks. Everyone, you can send me, you can tweet it out Saturday and say, Howard, you're stupid, or great call. Classic Causeway, I hate. If this horse wins, I will be absolutely shocked. I'm completely against Classic Causeway. Number one, I don't think he's as talented as people think, only because he's been getting away with pretty, easy fractions for the most part, facing horrible fields. Again, no disrespect to connections, just not really good fields. Number one. Number two, he's going to take a lot of pace pressure. Number three, he's coming back quickly. Number four, he's a low price. I could go on. Classic Causeway, I probably just put in the winner's circle. I don't like him at all. Okay, number one. Um, let's talk about. I'll go. Let's talk about simplification. I have on top, and I'm going to put back our PPs here. Just 1 second here. Whoop, there we go. Um, I think he's the most likely winner of this race. Although I did not hear what the trainer, what Antonio Sano said. I don't love everything that you just told me he said. But that being said, this is the best horse in the race. The last two times he hasn't got out of the gate great, and he's still run well. Last time, I know he was on the wrong lead, and I'm going to show you the end of that race because it's going to lead into my bomb pick in this race in a minute. I know he didn't change leads, but he still ran well. Got 96 buyer, has been working well, has a great post. I think it's going to set up well. Simplification is one of my top choices. Actually, it's my top choice. I think he's a likely winner of this race. Charge It. I'm a big fan, Justin. I think this horse is very, very talented. I think I could make the argument this is the most talented horse in the race. He's faced good fields. The first time he took a ton of pace pressure, first time out, breaking from the inside, which is hard to do, going that mile shoot. And after his race, his main race on January 8th, I called a friend. I said, this is a Derby threat. He wasn't even in the Derby pool at that time. I loved what I saw. Ran big next time. My only concern, Justin, with Charge It is twofold. Number one, can he take dirt if he doesn't, break well?
Mm-hmm.
And number two, can he deal with these many classy horses? So I'm a little bit worried about the trip he might get, especially with White Abario breaking to his, outside.
Mm-hmm.
Can Charge It rate at all, or can he, in between horses? I mean, he's gotten his own way for the most part in his first two. But if he gets any trip, I think this could be the most talented horse in the race. I am very, very interested in Charge It, not only on Saturday, but going forward. Mm-hmm. I would say more especially going forward than Saturday. All right, let's put us on screen. Here's my crazy wacko bomb idea, and I don't think it's that crazy. Let's very briefly talk about O Captain. A few things that the viewers, and I'm not sure if you know this either, just got supplemented a few days ago. They just paid the supplemental fee to the Derby. So the connections are serious about this horse. If he comes first or second, he's going to the Derby. The connections like this horse. Triple Crown nominated. And look who's on this horse, Rosario, who, in my opinion, is the best finisher of any jockey in the country. So I like all those three things. Now let's talk about the trip, Justin. He was in the Fountain of Youth, and I don't want to show the incident on the far turn, frankly, because no one needs to see that spill again. It was ugly. However, I'm going to show you right after. So right here on the outside is Simplification. You'll see that wrong lead that Justin mentioned. The horse I mentioned, O Captain, is in behind right here in the white cap. He already moved to the inside, and I just prefer not to show the spill, Justin, just out of respect to the horses. Totally but agree. I will say, O Captain, he didn't steady, but he was gaining momentum, and the jockey had to wait a little longer than he wanted to. So people feel free to watch the replay on your own, folks. But O Captain did lose a little bit of momentum. Because there were fallen horses around. You could see the jockey was a little bit, scared by that and just wasn't able to accelerate the way he wanted. I'll show the replay here. Again, here's O Captain right here coming wide on the outside. You see the wrong lead there for Justification. This is a nice horse here that's not in this race. And here's O Captain coming on the outside here, finishing very, very well. I'm going to show the gallop out. It's a little hard to tell, but if you freeze it right here, I mean, he's not that far away from Simplification. Let me try to sell you on one other thing as well. I don't have to sell you, Justin. Maybe the viewers out there. Look at the breeding. This is a horse by um, again. Sorry, let me go back. Here we go. This is a horse by Carpe Diem of an AP Indy mare, Mama Nadine. And Mama Nadine, as you can see, was absolutely a two-turn horse. This was a Pletcher horse for Windstar. And Oh Captain, uh, look, breeding by Windstar. So I think this horse is going to get better going longer. Um, I want to go full screen here. I'll put us back on screen. I think this horse is fascinating. I don't like him on top, but this is going to be one of my plays. I really like this horse, Justin, underneath for sure,
Mhm.
especially if that pace develops like I think. I think this horse can easily clunk up for second or third at a big price. So I have the same feeling with this horse as you do as the one. I think either one of these horses can get into the number. How do you feel about Oh Captain?
It's interesting that in his first race, he was on the pace. He was on a 22-2 first quarter.
Yeah,
My suspicion is that maybe he has a little more speed. I don't know if they'll decide to use it. Maybe this was an experiment in the Fountain of Youth. Let him take some dirt and maybe give him an education. I certainly would put him in the third spot in the trifecta. Uh, I, you know, Castellano to Rosario, in my mind, is a big upgrade. And like you said, I didn't know that they supplemented him. That shows confidence from the connection. So I can very much see you getting this horse up for third. Um, Again, he's 20-1. He'll probably be every bit of that, or close to it. Just
Jim. I'm sorry, Jim Pilar's has got a great question for you, Justin, on
yeah,
strike hard. You see at the bottom of the screen. If you read that,
yeah,
can you respond to Jim's
yeah,
comment there?
yeah, sure. I don't think it's going to be much of an issue because Classic Causeway is just going to go, and he's going to clear pretty easily. And Strike Hard is not going to be right up on those speed horses, and so when they clear and come over, I think he'll be far enough back to stay out of trouble. The question is, will he be able to find room from down there on the far turn to get out? And a lot of times these races tend to start to spread out around the far turn, especially these dirt races as opposed to the turf races. And so
Yeah.
you can usually find room in a dirt race when you need to. And then he's got the long stretch. So I don't see that. It's an excellent point. I don't think that it's a cause for concern. And so it wouldn't bother me one bit. And just another note, Howard, about Charge It. He's working with Fearless and arguably outworking Fearless.
He has been outworking him. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So there's another feather in your cap if you're someone who is on the Charge It bandwagon.
Just quickly, I want to just a shout out to Olamide. Hopefully, I pronounced that correctly. Thanks for joining the show. This is the first time I've seen the comment from Olamide. Thank you. We and thanks to Tom and Dean for said that we're talking about Gulfstream. I'm assuming this might be an overseas viewer. So Justin, that's the beauty of live YouTube, right? We got people from literally all over the world joining us. It's fantastic, and I'm not sure if he's from outside the United States, but that is my guess. I want to White Abario. You said, I'm sorry. Give me your final opinion on White Abario. I'm personally against. I don't know where that race came from last time, and I'm not sure he comes out of a strong race. What was your opinion on White Abario?
Well, I liked him until he spiked
Oh,
a
this,
fever last Tuesday,
yeah.
and then they pushed his work back. It seems to never go well, and fevers can take some of the starch out of horses. So I'll look for him down the line somewhere. I don't know. After I bet him his future in the Kentucky Derby pool, I went and looked at his breeding again. I don't love him for a mile and a quarter. He won the Holy Bull very impressively. His works leading up to this, before his last work, were very impressive. I loved him. So I grabbed him at 25 or 30-1, thinking if he did win the Florida Derby, that he would be probably 1/6 of that price, or 1/5 of that price on race day, perhaps. So that was my thinking. But I'm against him here in this race, Howard.
All right. Well, Justin, we're going to wrap up the show. I know you've been on for a while. If you want to quickly talk about your pick five at the bottom of the screen, I just put up there. You're singling. I love the aggressive single on the two horse in the second leg. You're using Strike Hard there in the last race. You're going four deep in others. I know any general thoughts on how people should construct their horizontal pick five other than the single with the two.
Um, yeah, I would just say that it seems like two of these races, in my opinion, you can lock up. I think in race 10, if you use those four, you've locked it up. And I think in race 12, if you use those three, you've locked it up. In race 13, I'm looking for a price. I'm going to use Noble Indy and Scarlet Sky. I'm going to use Gray's Fable and Safe Conduct. I'm going to use your horse now, Order and Law. And so, I don't like English B. I don't like Phantom Courtesy. I think you can get a price there. And then in the Florida Derby, I think that there are cases that can be made for scenarios where horses that are prices can win this. I'm going to cover the three mains, and then I'm going to throw Strike Hard in, and then I'm going to single that horse that I love. I'm hoping to get 4 or 5 to 1 on that horse. I think he's going to get a great trip. He's the best finisher, and he's got trouble that is concealed by the inaccurate comment line. So I'm gonna go after this a little bit and see if we can get a price or two and make this pay.
All right, your camera fell down just a little
Sorry.
bit, so no problem. Very briefly, I almost never hit the all ball, Justin, like never, because
Yeah.
I think if you're hitting the all, you've no opinion or a bad opinion of the race. I'm seeing Kathleen O. I hear what you're saying. I suppose the two can wire the field.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is not the ticket I'm playing Saturday. Obviously, I use an ABC method. But if I had to make a caveman pick, I think the two most likely winners of the sequence are Kathleen O and Simplification. I don't think either one of them lays over the fields, but the other races are just completely wide open in my mind. And so, because I feel like I need to spread in the penultimate race, I would go ahead and single. But again, I wouldn't feel great about singling you one of those two horses. Although I do think Simplification is a likely winner, and I think Kathleen O with any pace in front of her is a likely winner. So there's my pick five. Take it or leave it, everyone. And of course the bomb there, oh captain on the end. Maybe to clunk in for
Mm-hmm.
the try.
Mm-hmm.
Justin, you've been fantastic once again. We love you have the TripNote pros. Make sure you say hi to Benny for us, everyone here at the HHH Racing Podcast. Maybe we can get the big shooter on on this show at some point. Any final thoughts for Saturday at Gulfstream?
It should be a fun card. I'm just hoping that a lot of these big days recently at these tracks tend to be very chalky. I've noticed. The horses that were supposed to run well have run well and have dominated, and so that's always a likely scenario. And a strategy that's not a bad idea might be to back up, a smaller ticket, maybe a $5 pick five with some of the favorites that seem like likely winners, and maybe hit it a couple times if you're one that likes some of the favorites, because these big days have chalked out recently. So. But it's fun, and Howard, I appreciate you having me on. It was a blast talking horses with you. I love the show, and keep up the great work.
Thanks, Anna. Where are you located again?
Allentown, Pennsylvania, just north of Philadelphia.
I will be at my first Triple Crown race ever. I'll be at the Belmont this year, and I'm also going to be at Saratoga for the first time this summer. I have no idea your plans. If you happen to be in any of the New York area, New York tracks, I'd love to hook up with you, Justin. Buy you a beverage, say hello. Do you have any plans
that'd be fun.
Any plans going out to Saratoga or the Belmont or anywhere out east this year?
Yeah. We booked a place at Saratoga, I think in last week in July or the first or second week of August. At some point,
I'm going to be there the second week. All right, we'll have to we'll have to work something out at some point. So
listen, twist my arm if I have an excuse. I'm 4 hours away, so I can drive there, Howard. Give me a reason to get out there.
How about the Belmont? No.
Oh yeah. I'm 2 hours from Belmont Park, so that's an even easier drive for me.
All right, I'm gonna. Hopefully, I'll see you. We'll get in touch. I'd love. Maybe we can hook up the Belmont then.
So. I love it.
All right, Justin. Thanks again. I'll send you an email after the show. Really appreciate you coming on. Get information on TripNote Pros. Fantastic product. Highly recommend everyone gets it. Justin Christein. Take care. Have a great night.
Appreciate you, Howard. Thank you.
All right. Take care. Bye bye. All right, that was Justin Christein. Fantastic information, everyone. That's what we do on this show. I try to get the best guests, give everyone great information. He had some very interesting replays that I think were definitely, worth watching and taking a look at. I'm going to revise some things as well. And Justin's going to revise a few things that I thought could happen. That's the great thing about horse racing handicapping. You can bounce ideas off each other and learn from everyone. Again, this Saturday, folks, live coverage. Again, mark your calendars, put on your phone. Live coverage this Saturday evening, 6 to 7:45 Eastern Standard Time, right here on the HHH Racing Podcast. It'll be myself and a few other guest handicappers. We're going to walk through the races. We're going to talk about the races after. And during the races, as they happen, you're going to see our reactions. So, again, you're going to want to check us out on Saturday. We had a great amount of fun and viewership with this last Saturday, and we're going to do it again this Saturday. That will wrap it up for episode 124 of the HHH Racing Podcast. I've been your host, Howard Kravitz. Please join us this Saturday, again, early evening, for live coverage of the Florida Derby and the Arkansas Derby. Hope we helped you on Saturday at Gulfstream. Kick some butt with those bets on Florida Derby Day. Take care, everyone. Have a great evening.